The most noble order of the Garter, founded in 1348, is the highest order of chivalry and the third most prestigious honour in England and of the United Kingdom, and is dedicated to the image and arms of St. George as England's patron saint. It is awarded at the sovereign's pleasure as a personal gift on recipients from the United Kingdom and other Commonwealth realms. Membership of the order is limited to the sovereign, the Prince of Wales, and no more than 24 members, or companions. The order also includes supernumerary knights and ladies. New appointments to the Order of the Garter are always announced on St. George's Day, the 23rd of April, as St. George is the patron saint of England. The Order's emblem is a garter with the motto Honi soit qui mal y pense in gold lettering. Members of the Order wear it on ceremonial occasions. History. King Edward III founded the Order of the Garter around the time of his claim to the French throne. The year is usually presumed to be 1348, however, the complete peerage, under the founders of the Order of the Garter, states the order was first instituted on the 23rd of April 1344, listing each founding member as knighted in 1344. The list includes Sodacan This, who died on the 20th of October 1345. Other dates from 1344 to 1351 have also been proposed. The King's Wardrobe account shows Garter habits first issued in the autumn of 1348. Also, its original statutes required that each member of the order already be a knight, and some of the initial members listed were only knighted that year. The earliest written mention of the order is found in Tyrant L'Oblanche, a chivalric romance written in Valenciennes mainly by Donat Martorell. It was first published in 1490. This book devotes a chapter to the description of the origin of the Order of the Garter. Aside from the fantastical and vague stories concerning the order's origins, the most likely explanation for its creation is a chivalric apology for Edward III's brutal rape of the Countess of Salisbury. List of founder knights. At the time of its foundation, the order consisted of King Edward III, together with 25 founder knights, listed in ascending order of stall number in St. George's Chapel. King Edward III. Edward, the Black Prince, Prince of Wales. Henry of Grosmont, Earl of Lancaster. Thomas, Earl of Warwick. Jean de Greyleaf, Captal de Buck. Ralph, Lord Stafford. William, Earl of Salisbury. Roger, Earl of March. John, Lord Lisle. Bartholomew, Lord Burgish. John, Lord Beauchamp. John, Lord Mohun. Sir Hugh de Courtenay. Thomas, Earl of Kent. John, Lord Grey de Rotherfield. Sir Richard Fitzsimon. Sir Miles Stapleton. Sir Thomas Wale. Sir Hugh Rusley. Sir Nellie Loring. Sir John Chandos. Sir James Audley. Sir Otho Holland. Sir Henry E.A.M. Sir Sanchez d'Abricourt. Sir Walter Pavely. They are all depicted in individual portraits in the Bruges Garter book made c. 1431. Legendary origins. Various legends account for the origin of the order. The most popular legend involves the Countess of Salisbury. While she was dancing at a court ball at Calais, her garter is said to have slipped from her leg. When the surrounding courtiers sniggered, the king picked it up and returned it to her, exclaiming, "Honi soit qui mal y pense," the phrase that has become the motto of the order. According to another legend, King Richard I was inspired in the 12th century by St. George the Martyr while fighting in the Crusades to tie garters around the legs of his knights, who subsequently won the battle. King Edward supposedly recalled the event in the 14th century when he founded the order. This story is recounted in a letter to the Annual Register in 1774. In Rastall's Chronicle, vi. Under the life of Edward III is the following curious passage. About the 19th era of this king, he made a solemn feast at Windsor, and a great justice and tournament, where he dovey said, and perfited substantially, the order of the Knights of the Garter, howbeit some affirm that this order began fierce by King Richard, Coeur de Lion, at the Sieger of the city of Acres, where, in his great necessite, there were but 26 knights that firmly and surely abode by the kinge, where he caused all them to wear thonges of blue lath about their leggers, and afterward they were called the knights of the blue thong. I am obliged for this passage to John Fenn, Esq., a curious and ingenious gentleman of East Dereham, in Norfolk, who is in possession of the most rare book whence it is taken. Hence some affirm, that the origin of the Garter is to be dated from Richard I*, and that it owes its pomp and splendour to Edward III. Winsterley, in his Life of Edward III, says that the original book of the institution deduces the invention from King Richard I. Another explanation is that the motto refers to Edward's claim to the French throne, and the Order of the Garter was created to help pursue this claim. The use of the Garter as an emblem may have derived from straps used to fasten armor. Medieval scholars have pointed to a connection between the Order of the Garter and the Middle English poem, Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. In Gawain, a girdle, very similar in its erotic undertones to the Garter, plays a prominent role. A rough version of the Order's motto also appears in the text. It translates from Old French's, "Accursed be a cowardly and covetous heart," while the author of that poem remains disputed. There seems to be a connection between two of the top candidates and the Order of the Garter. Scholar J.P. Oakden has suggested that it is someone related to John of Gaunt, 1st Duke of Lancaster, and, more importantly, a member of the order. Another competing theory is that the work was written for Enguerrand de Coucy, 7th Sire de Coucy. Sire de Coucy was married to King Edward III's daughter, Isabella, and was given admittance to the Order of the Garter on their wedding day, Ladies' Companion of the Garter. Soon after the founding of the order, women were appointed Ladies of the Garter, but were not made companions. King Henry VII discontinued the practice in 1488. His mother, Margaret Beaufort, was the last Lady of the Garter before Queen Alexandra. Except for female sovereigns, the next Lady of the Garter named was Queen Alexandra, by her husband King Edward VII. King George V also made his consort, Queen Mary, a Lady of the Garter, and King George VI subsequently did the same for his wife, Queen Elizabeth. Throughout the 20th century, women continued to be associated with the order, but except for foreign female monarchs, they were not made companions. In 1987, however, it became possible to install Ladies' Companion of the Garter under a statute of Queen Elizabeth II. Order. Membership in the order is strictly limited and includes the monarch, the Prince of Wales, not more than 24 companion members, and various supernumerary members. The monarch alone can grant membership. He or she is known as the Sovereign of the Garter, and the Prince of Wales is known as a Royal Knight Companion of the Garter. Male members of the order are titled Knight's Companion, and female members are called Ladies' Companion. Formerly, the Sovereign filled vacancies upon the nomination of the members. Each member would nominate 9 candidates, of whom 3 had to have the rank of Earl or higher, 3 the rank of Baron or higher, and 3 the rank of Knight or higher. The Sovereign would choose as many nominees as were necessary to fill any vacancies in the order. He or she was not obliged to choose those who received the most nominations. Candidates were last nominated in 1860, and appointments have since been made by the Sovereign acting alone, with no prior nominations. The statutes prescribing the former procedure were not amended, however, until 1953. From the 18th century, the Sovereign made his or her choices on the advice of the government. In 1946, with the agreement of the Prime Minister Clement Attlee and the leader of the opposition Winston Churchill, membership of the United Kingdom's highest-ranking orders of chivalry became a personal gift of the Sovereign once again. Thus, the Sovereign personally selects Knights and Ladies Companion of the Garter, and need not act on or solicit the advice of his or her government. Supernumerary members. In addition, the order includes supernumerary members, who do not count towards the limit of 24 companions. Several supernumerary members, known as Royal Knights and Ladies of the Garter, belong to the royal family. These titles were introduced in 1786 by King George III so that his many sons would not count towards the limit on the number of companions. He created the Statute of Supernumerary Members in 1805 so that any descendant of King George II could be installed as such a member. In 1831, this statute was extended again to include all descendants of King George I. With the installation of Emperor Alexander I of Russia in 1813, supernumerary membership was extended to foreign monarchs, who are known as stranger knights and ladies of the Garter. Each such installation originally required the enactment of a statute. However, a 1954 statute authorizes the regular admission of stranger knights or ladies without further special enactments. In lesser orders of chivalry, such foreign members would be regarded as having received honorary knighthoods. Traditionally, reigning European monarchs are admitted to the order as strangers. Constantine II, king of the Hellenes, neither in his short reign nor since he was deposed in 1973, has succeeded his father Paul of Greece as a member of the order. Similarly, Albert II, king of the Belgians, although acceding to the throne in 1993, is the only Belgian monarch to date not to have been admitted to the order. For a time, both Juliana, Queen of the Netherlands, and her successor, Queen Beatrix, were concurrently members of the order as stranger ladies of the Garter. Akihito, Emperor of Japan, is the only non-European monarch and likely the only non-Christian who is currently a member of the order. He is the fourth Emperor of Japan to be a stranger knight. The first non-Christian ruler to be admitted to the order was Abdülmecid I, Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, in 1856 as a stranger knight. The first, and to date only, member of the order from South America was Pedro II, Emperor of Brazil, created a stranger knight in 1871. He was a member of the House of Braganza, the ruling house of Portugal and Brazil. The first member of the order admitted from Asia was Nasser al-Din Shah Qajar, King of Persia, created a stranger knight in 1873. His immediate successor was also admitted to the order in 1903, to be followed by the Meiji, Emperor of Japan, in 1906. The first, and to date only, member of the order from Africa was Haile Selassie, Emperor of Ethiopia, created a stranger knight in 1954. The first knight from Australasia or Oceania was Richard Gardner Casey, Baron Casey, an Australian politician, diplomat and the 16th Governor-General of Australia, created a knight companion in 1969. Subsequently, two more Australians, Sir Paul Hasluck and Sir Ninian Stephen, were appointed. 3 New Zealanders have been appointed: Charles, Lord Elworthy, Sir Keith Holyoake, and Sir Edmund Hillary. There have been no appointments from North America. Degradation of members. The sovereign may degrade members who have committed very serious crimes, such as treason or fleeing the battlefield, or those who have taken up arms against the sovereign. From the late 15th century, there was a formal ceremony of degradation, in which Garter, King of Arms, accompanied by the rest of the heralds, proceeded to St. George's Chapel. While the Garter, King of Arms, read out aloud the instrument of degradation, a herald climbed up a ladder and removed the former knight's banner, crest, helm, and sword, throwing them down into the choir. Then the rest of the heralds kicked them down the length of the chapel, out of the doors, and into the castle ditch. The last such formal degradation was that of James, Duke of Ormond, in 1716. During the First World War, 2 royal knights and 6 stranger knights, all monarchs or princes of enemy nations and including Wilhelm II, German Emperor, and Franz Joseph, Emperor of Austria, were struck off the roll of the order or had their appointments annulled in 1915. The banner of Victor Emmanuel III of Italy was also removed from the chapel after Italy entered World War II against the United Kingdom and her allies. The banner of Emperor Hirohito of Japan was removed from St. George's Chapel when Japan entered World War II in 1941, but that banner and the Japanese monarch's knighthood were restored by Elizabeth II in 1971, at which time he made a state visit to the United Kingdom. The Emperor was particularly pleased by the restoration of his banner as a Knight of the Garter. Offices. The Order has 6 offices: the Prelate, the Chancellor, the Register, the Garter, Principal King of Arms, the Usher, and the Secretary. The offices of Prelate, Register, and Usher were created on the Order's establishment, those of Garter, Principal King of Arms and Chancellor, in the 15th century, and that of Secretary, in the 20th century. The office of Prelate is held by the Bishop of Winchester, traditionally one of the senior bishops of the Church of England. The office of Chancellor is now held by one of the companions of the Order. For most of its existence, the Bishop of Salisbury has held the office, although laymen held it from 1553 to 1671. In 1837, after boundary changes made Windsor Castle fall in the Diocese of Oxford, the chancellorship was transferred to the Bishop of Oxford. A century later, the Bishop of Salisbury challenged this transfer, on the grounds that the chancellorship had been attached to his office regardless of the diocese in which the chapel of the Order lay, and that, in any event, St. George's Chapel, as a royal peculiar, was not under diocesan jurisdiction. The office of Chancellor was removed from the Bishop of Oxford, and so it was withheld from his successor, Kenneth Kirk, and has since been held by one of the Knights Companion. Since 1937, the following members have held the post of Chancellor: William, Duke of Portland; Edward, Earl of Halifax; Robert, Marquess of Salisbury; Charles, Viscount Cobham; John, Marquess of Abergavenny; Peter, Lord Carrington; James, Duke of Abercorn. The office of Register has been held by the Dean of Windsor since 1558. The Garter, Principal King of Arms, is ex officio the senior officer of the College of Arms, and is usually appointed from among the other officers of arms of the college. As the title suggests, Garter, Principal King of Arms, has specific duties as the Order's officer of arms, attending to the companions' crests and banners of arms, which are exhibited in the chapel. The Secretary, who acts as deputy to Garter in the ceremonial aspects of the Order, has since 1952 also been selected from the other officers of the College of Arms. The office of Usher is held by the Gentleman Usher of the Black Rod, who is also the Sergeant-at-Arms of the United Kingdom House of Lords. Military Knights of Windsor. At the founding of the Order of the Garter, 26 poor knights were appointed and attached to the Order and its chapel. This number was not always maintained, and by the 17th century, there were only 13 such knights. King Charles II increased the number to 18 after his coronation in 1660. After the knights objected to being termed poor, King William IV redesignated them in the 19th century as the Military Knights of Windsor. The poor knights were impoverished military veterans, required to pray daily for the Knights Companion. In return, they received a salary and lodging in Windsor Castle. The knights are no longer necessarily poor, but are still military pensioners. They participate in the Order's processions, escorting the members, and in the chapel services. However, they are not considered members of the Order. The poor knights originally wore red mantles, each of which bore St. George's Cross, but did not depict the Garter. Queen Elizabeth I replaced the mantles in the 16th and 17th centuries with blue and purple gowns, but the red mantles returned in the 17th century under King Charles I. When the knights were renamed, the mantles were abandoned. The military knights now wear the old military uniform of an army officer on the unattached list: black trousers with red stripe, a red double-breasted swallow-tailed coat, gold epaulets and brooches, a cocked hat with a plume, and a sword on a white sash.